You okay, Brock?
During a peaceful boating trip in Saskatchewan, a family spotted something strange moving near the far tree line.
Me and my family were boating when suddenly we seen something on the shore.
What's that? What's that?
When they zoomed closer, a large, shadowy figure came into view, with a height and body shape that seemed much bigger than anyone they had seen before. They continued recording, shocked as the figure moved steadily and purposefully along the shoreline before vanishing into the dense woods.
Over there!
The moment was brief, but it left them unsettled, wondering whether they had seen an unusual animal, a mistaken human figure, or something far stranger on that isolated shore. Far inside an unidentified forest, several friends were out riding when their camera caught something they did not expect. One of them recorded as another friend guided an ATV through low water before the rider abruptly came to a stop. A massive upright shape, perhaps nearly 7 feet tall, was walking steadily among the trees. The rider remained motionless while filming continued, both unsure of what they were watching. The clip left them questioning whether it was a person-forced perspective or something linked to the Beast of Gum Hill legend. On a quiet beach day, a family was taking in the peaceful view and recording the area when something strange caught their eye. As they filmed the shoreline, a tall, dark figure suddenly stepped out from behind several rocks, walking upright with slow, intentional movements beside the water. The family continued filming, shocked and silent, as the figure moved farther along the beach before the video cut off without warning. The short sighting left them unsure whether they had recorded a normal person, an illusion caused by distance and light, or something much more mysterious traveling along the coast. At a Christmas get-together in northern Minnesota, a family's celebration suddenly changed when they saw movement outside in the snowy yard.
What was that?
Oh my God. Did you
Something's
see that?
Something's behind the garage.
After stepping out to check, they looked across the area and noticed a huge figure walking close to the house.
Oh my God.
Seeing it directly with their own eyes left them shocked, unable to explain what they had just seen. Was it a person wandering where they should not be, or was Bigfoot really crossing through the snowy darkness? A winter bike ride on a snowy trail changed suddenly when a huge shape crossed a hill in front of two riders and one camera recorded it. While they rode through the mountain terrain, a tall figure stepped onto the route, moving with slow, steady purpose, leaving oversized prints sunk into the snow that seemed much too large for any human. The figure appeared on camera again as it kept climbing toward the tree line, not rushing away or trying to conceal itself, only walking ahead like it naturally belonged there. The bikers stared in shock, thankful the creature did not seem aggressive. If it truly was Bigfoot, it appeared strangely comfortable being watched, making them wonder what else could be moving through those frozen trails. A family went into the wilderness for shooting practice, unaware of how strange the day would become.
You gonna try the shotgun?
Try the helicopter. Oh, no.
Once they began firing, a helicopter circled above them, remaining long enough to seem unusual. At the same time, far off,
Whoa, that was a big kick. You okay, Brock? You okay?
a large, dark shape moved quickly through the trees without the family noticing. The moment raised an unsettling question: was the helicopter observing them or tracking something stranger in the forest? Far out in the Alaskan wilderness, a man camping by himself started feeling that something strange was hiding close by, making him uneasy as he left his camper.
Every time I almost have the guts to get down, I can't.
And carefully moved toward the dark woods. Odd sounds carried between the trees, while moving shadows made the night feel tense in an unnatural way.
There's one right over here. And one right over here. What's going on up here?
As he stood listening, a quiet whisper slipped through the forest before something or someone seemed to whisper right beside his ear, leaving him terrified as a huge, dark figure appeared in the blackness. The encounter left one frightening question behind. Was it only a natural forest illusion, or had he faced something unknown in the Alaskan night? In 2024, a hiker followed an isolated trail through the California foothills near Shaver Lake. Rain had soaked the ground and bright sunlight cut through the trees above. He spent the afternoon fishing completely unaware of anything unusual around him. At one point, he propped his catch against a nearby rock and snapped a quick photo not planned, just ordinary. Later that evening, after returning home and looking through the images in clearer light, one detail froze him. Far back in the tree line behind the spot where he'd been standing, almost hidden but clearly vertical, there appeared to be a figure. It stood inside the natural cover, motionless roughly 40 yards away. Some people who examined the photo said the stance resembled a female primate holding an infant on one hip. Others believed it was branches overlapping with shadows in a misleading way, but the detail most people agreed on was what it suggested. He never returned to that trail. Something that remains concealed instead of running away suggests it did not feel threatened or it was observing. We still do not know what it was. Do you think it was watching from curiosity or for another reason? Two hunters were filming in Idaho's remote backcountry when they abruptly paused, like they had noticed something that did not belong there. They quickly turned their cameras toward the woods ahead, not because they had gotten a clean look, but because whatever had just moved through the shot had a shape strange enough that they simply could not ignore it.
Give me the camera. Oh. I tripped. What was that? I told you that wasn't a freaking bear. What was that?
It wasn't a bear.
Oh my God. Listen. Listen.
Did you get it?
I don't even know what that was.
Did you get it on film?
Yeah, I know I got it on film before you took the camera away from me.
It did not stop, and it did not remain visible for more than a moment. It showed itself only briefly between the trees before vanishing again. But its movement did not look like a typical run or walk, leaving them unable to match it with any known animal in the area. Even now, there is still no solid answer for what appeared in the video, and nobody truly knows what they captured. Maybe it was visible for only one short second, but the way it moved through that wilderness felt wrong. So what do you think it actually was? Meet Sarah, the creator of Salish Sasquatch, a channel focused on presenting Bigfoot evidence and personal encounter accounts. In her videos, she travels through the thick forests of Washington state, recording odd noises, unexplained tracks, and disturbing sightings.
My heart was pounding like really bad, and I didn't know what it was going on. Footsteps, crack, 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 as it was passing trees.
A mini bike ride through Morton with her guide, Stephen Marcus, would soon show her that in these woods, nobody is ever truly completely alone.
Welcome to Salish Sasquatch, where we share evidence as well as encounters. This area is very well known in the Bigfoot community in Washington state for Sasquatch activity. I'm going to link that down below. That's a very well-known account about two people that were hired to, and they had a lot of activity transpire. So I'm going to link that below. Stephen Marcus today, and we are going to take you along for the ride. and tell you about an encounter that happened in March of 2022.
Morton, Washington is well known in the Bigfoot research world as a place with heavy Sasquatch activity. The channel had earlier covered a famous story known as The Night Watchman, a documented account about two people hired to watch logging equipment on a nearby hill where a chain of unusual incidents took place. That video is included for context. This time, Stephen Marcus comes along as the guide for a ride into the area connected to a March 2022 encounter. On March 26th, Jonathan and about a dozen friends came together for a night at an old quarry. Two trailers rested quietly in the dark as a campfire cast shifting shadows across the open area. The group settled down, chatting and laughing with no reason to think anything strange would happen.
And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll go along with it. We'll see what's happening here. But at the same time, some of these guys were track specialists who follow footprints and the sounds and all the different things, all these different experts at their fields out here.
But one camper sitting a short distance from everyone else was about to see something the night had been silently keeping hidden. Suddenly, a sharp clattering sound broke across the road. Jonathan and one companion heard it right away, a noise that never reached the others because the trailer blocked it. Soon after, a radio message came through saying at least 2 Sasquatches had been seen near the creek.
After the gentleman that I was sitting by, that it made me aware of the rock clacking, and then he radios over and he goes, "There's at least 2 Sasquatches down by the creek." And so I'm scurrying to go get my phone. And when I start walking down the road right here, that's when there's these 2 power knocks. It sounded like 2 gunshots, but it wasn't gunshots. It was just...
The group hurried to grab equipment and phones. Then 2 knocks came through, huge and explosive, carrying through the darkness like gunfire, but clearly not the same. For several tense minutes, the knocking shifted through the trees, slow and intentional, as if something concealed was announcing itself on its own terms. Then, there was movement. One of Jonathan's companions went still as fear moved through the group.
So I'm not 100% positive where the Sasquatch was last seen. And from the version that I had heard was that when the guy was like, "Oh, I'm gonna run after him and try to film him." And I was also told by some of the guys that were watching the monitor, the guy who's chasing him, he's falling all over the place. They could see that through thermal.
No one knew exactly where to look or which way to go. The thought that something enormous and unseen might be outside, watching and moving closer, stayed over all of them.
Crawling, and I could see him, I could see the fern starting to move, and he's starting to come down, and he's starting to go back this direction. As he's coming by, I see the guy who was first chasing the Bigfoot, and I told him, I said, "Hey, he's moving right up there." And he goes, "Yeah, okay, sure." And I thought, okay, well, I don't know who these guys are anyway, so whatever.
Footage recorded from above later showed a figure next to a tree. Only part of it could be seen the left side, and a section of the back exposed from a slight angle. One arm hung in a strange position, bent and heavy. The body looked wide and strongly built with proportions unlike anything else visible in the scene.
I see it's going down this direction, and it's only about, as I'm coming up this way, I see Steve walking down, and it's coming across right by Steve. I know, I can't believe we saw that. And I thought, oh my God, I can't believe we both saw this thing. And we were just all excited because we didn't know what to do at that point. Then we went back into camp.
It filled the space beside the tree like a firm fixed object would, tall, dense, and completely mismatched with everything around it. For the witness, it became a first encounter confusing, impossible to explain away, and impossible to forget. Just after sunrise the next morning, he woke to a fast series of sharp cracking noises moving through the trees. Quiet at first, they quickly multiplied and seemed to come from several directions at once, creating what felt like a triangle of sound closing around the camp.
And I was so excited. This was my very first experience and introduction to collecting audio for Sasquatch. And everyone was telling me I have to use it. So I finally used it. I turned it on, went to bed around 2 o'clock in the morning. About 6:30, I think, in the morning, I got woken up and I started hearing something cracking on a tree.
An audio recorder left running inside the tent captured pieces of it. The sounds were faint during playback, but in the moment they were loud nearby, and unlike anything he had heard during years spent in the woods.
As I'm laying there in my sleeping bag, I can hear sounds going off behind me towards the direction of my feet, that way in the woods, and then over to the right. It was like a perfect triangle. You know, fortunately, I caught this all on my audio. It's not great, but it's there, and you can kind of hear it. And Marcus is sleeping. He finally wakes up, and I'm like thinking I'm the only one hearing this.
After everything that happened across those hours, the knocks, the figure in the thermal footage, and the sounds at dawn, one question remained with everyone who had been there. How close had they really come to something most people will never encounter at all? Something that makes itself known through knocking, lets itself be partly seen, then vanishes before anyone can approach, is a pattern found in many accounts. It creates questions about intention that are not easy to answer. What do you think it was doing out there that night, warning them, or something else? On November 21st, 2024, Paranormal Discovery uploaded video from an overnight investigation in a secluded Nova Scotia wilderness the crew referred to as the Wendigo Sanctuary. Host Lamar, his partner Chelsea, and their dog Kia went back to the location to search for the origin of unexplained crying and chain noises reported there since the 1980s. The group drove farther down a rough, nearly impassable dirt road than they had ever gone before.
She is like stressed.
She knows.
Are you okay, Kia? Like, was she okay last time?
No, she was not okay last time. We were just about to go into this path right here, because that's where we caught that thing on the SLS. She did not want to go up that at all. And we went this way, and something attacked my face. Like, it turned out that there was actual scratches on my face. I'm not joking. Something very spiritual is here. And we're gonna find out what that is tonight. So this is what we actually labeled the Wendigo Sanctuary.
Yes,
because
that's right.
the very first time we did come here, I got spiritually attacked. We looked up the symptoms to this Wendigo thing. I don't know, it was a weird moment. So there could be Wendigos out here.
The deeper they traveled, the more nervous Kia appeared. Her tail lowered and she fixed her attention on one part of the tree line, refusing to turn away, even while the team prepared camp.
Kia just finished eating her dinner, but she's been standing like this, staring off directly in front of us.
Yeah, she's off.
Yeah, even like look at her tail, right in between her legs. Are you okay, Kiki? She's been nonstop like watching this area, like while we've been setting up and everything, she's been watching it like a hawk.
After they settled in, their spirit box started giving directional responses. Kia continued refusing to approach certain areas of the woods, so the group decided to trust her reaction.
As we just started rolling, but I had my spirit talker going, and as soon as, just before we press record, it said look out for lights.
We're gonna play off of Kia's instincts. If she does not want to go somewhere, I'm gonna take that as a hint.
As they moved farther along the trail, hard objects began coming out of the tree line toward them. Kia, who had stayed composed until then, suddenly took off running. The group chased after her.
Whoa! What the? That seemed to be like that's like 3 times in a row in a forest, something has ended up beside us.
I know. Like what is that noise though? Like how
It sounded
is that
like
just them being like,
it sounded like a stone again.
whoa!
Whoa!
What?
Get the f over! Something is in here.
Kia, come, Kia.
Charles, what is getting thrown at us?
I don't know.
Or something is moving. Jesus Christ! Whoa!
What?
Jesus
is
Christ!
happening?
Okay, move down the path. Move down the path.
Kia, go.
Kia's running.
Yeah, Kia's running.
Charles,
Kia,
something
slow
is
down.
behind us.
Kia, stop running, hon.
In that same area, Lamar spotted a figure standing still among several white birch trees. He judged it to be around 10 or 11 feet tall. Nobody else saw it then, but no one dismissed it.
Tall. Did I just see like something like big?
Seriously?
Like, I was like 10, 11 feet tall standing by a tree. For like a second, I just saw like a really tall being.
Where though? Like in between these
Right
trees
there.
here?
No, it's like right in between those white trees. That could have been anything. That could have been something spiritual. That could have actually been like a...
The team continued forward. Then, a heavy tripod was thrown down onto the ground by something no one could see. The impact was strong enough to make everyone stop.
What was that? Our tripod. That seemed to be like thrown.
Yeah, I know.
That did not just drop. That was thrown. Something was up with that one. That did not just fall. That was like slammed.
Moments later, Lamar said his body became frozen. While he could not move, he saw 2 amber yellow glowing circles right in front of his face. He stayed silent until the group got back inside their vehicle.
You excuse me, you what?
It just felt like I got paralyzed for a second there.
Seriously?
Yeah. When I got paralyzed, there was 2 glowing circles right here.
What color?
Fuck was that?
What color?
Amber yellow.
Get in the car.
What?
Get in the car.
Why?
Just get in the car. We can talk about it in the car. We can come back out.
My eyes are tearing right now.
We can come back out, but let's just get in the car for a bit.
What is going on?
Okay, so you said you felt paralyzed?
Yeah, like I didn't mention it. Like, I mean, I did mention it, but I didn't say it in the moment because I just felt like it's just like on my life. Literally, it was circles, but it looked like close-up eyes. Like, I'm literally shaking right now.
What you experienced is signs of the dog man present. A lot of people have said that they have amber glowing eyes, and then you said you felt paralyzed, which is also another thing that people have said.
You said
that happens when the dog man is present.
Kia responded before anything could be seen, and the physical activity seemed to build in a clear order. What do you think set off each part of what happened that night?